white mist clings to a red valley. The barlad runs under a skin of ice that cracks like old glass, and turbines drift where rushes should be. Steel lies open like rib cages. Horses steam, then stop steaming. The only sound is silence, a thick winter silence that swallows prayers and orders alike. This is Vaslui, January 1475. 40,000 Moldavians came as shadows. 80,000 Ottomans arrived as destiny. Now the fog keeps score. How does a principality forgotten on most maps erase an army that took cities with names like Thunder? How do 20,000 farmers with axes make 45,000 men of the Sultan vanish into mud and ice? How? The valley itself answers first. Marsh waits in the hollows. The river bends into a noose. A single wooden bridge, old-boned and faithful, ties bank to bank. Weeks earlier, men with frost in their beards dug where no one would step, sharpened what no one would see, and loosened what everyone would trust. Stakes disappeared beneath reeds. Pits learned to breathe. The bridge learned to groan. Fog arrives on schedule. Moldavian gray, milk thick, God's own curtain if you ask a monk, a weapon if you ask a prince. It erases banners and rank. It turns columns into crowds. It makes a general shout sound like a faraway rumor. Somewhere in that wool-white world, Suleiman Pasha rides by the book. He counts heads and cannons and believes numbers cannot lie. Somewhere above him on a low hill, Stephen watches without blinking and believes terrain never does. The first voice is not a drum. It's a horn, one long Buccium call that threads the mist like a needle. Then 100 more. Sound bounces off trees and water, becomes everywhere and nowhere, becomes the idea of encirclement. Men tug reins that won't answer. Files tighten into knots. Orders meet distance and drown. Artillery speaks, not grand imperial bombards, but small, quick, hateful mouths. Iron rips through the packed column because in fog a target is not a point, it's a mass. The river answers with cracks. The ice answers with sighs. The bridge answers with a low wooden prayer. A janissary circle forms, disciplined, bristling, the empire's memory of victory, made flesh. They plant their feet and lift their spears and try to turn fog into enemy. It will be enough, they think, if the line holds, if the air clears, if the horses find footing. But the ground has already chosen sides. Mail drags, mud grips, hooves plunge and do not return. Above it all, that single bridge keeps talking in a language of strain and splinters. It is the chapter's object and the battle's hinge, a span between certainty and panic, between escape and the river's black mouth. When it finally answers in full, when wood becomes collapse and path becomes trap. Some will call it miracle. Others will call it engineering. The fog doesn't care. It keeps its silence. And in that silence, empires begin to learn that they bleed. The bill arrives, stamped with a crescent, after Constantinople, after Trebizond, after walls that had never fallen until they did. Mehmed II sends a simple line north, gold every year, or ashes forever. Tribute is not a suggestion. It is the receipt empires demand from the living. In Suceava, Stephen reads the line once, twice, and tears it across the seal. A refusal is not a letter. It is a gunshot heard in palaces. Villain aura. Mehmed does not need to snarl. His silence is policy. He points, and treasuries open. He nods, and rivers move in the direction of his will. The divan speaks in ledgers and roads. Scribes tally grain, cannon shot, spare axles. Within days, the empire exhales metal. 120,000 ordered to march. Spahis with cat-smooth horses. Sipahis armored like churches. Janissaries drilled to the click of a prayer bead. Smithies glow midnight orange. Leather is cut to the length of a winter. Ferry lists multiply. Bridges sprout like ribs across water. Numbers will win, say the accountants. Numbers always win. Drumbeat logistics begin their hymn. 10,000 draft animals requisitioned from the Danubian plain. 2,000 wagons rated to carry flour, arrows, nails, spare bowstrings, pitch, salt. Mobile forges bolted to sled runners to cheat the season. Sutlers counted and branded. Surgeons issued vinegar, thread, and the permission to take hands when frost takes fingers. A column like a city with its own courts and hangmen stretches from Adrianople to the horizon. Tambours set the pace. 1, 2, 1, 2. Miles become policy. Policy becomes destiny. Suleiman Pasha takes the baton. He has the look of a man who understands that hesitation is a crime. His maps are clean, his arithmetic clean, his cavalry clean. He prefers bridges to gambles, plain daylight to cleverness. We will not seek them. We will roll over them, he tells his bays. His scouts fan out in verse. His engineers measure rivers with rope and cold hands. His quartermasters pay coin and take double, because hungry soldiers become statistics, and statistics become disasters. The road north whitens under frost and dust, and the belief that mass is a kind of god. Stephen's court hears the tread days before they see the banners. The prince answers with subtraction. Burn what feeds, break what carries, poison what sparkles. Granaries become cinders, wells go bitter. Mills lose their wheels and stare blind at the current. Villages empty into forests. He counts backwards. 120,000 minus forage, minus shelter, minus certainty. The only addition he allows is silence. Somewhere in a field near Bouzeau, a teamster learns the empire's math when a wheel shatters and men behind cannot stop. Somewhere on the Siret, rafts clotted with barrels miss a mooring and vanish under ice. Somewhere at a ford, a groom slaps a horse that will not enter black water alive. Numbers will win, the ledgers repeat, but numbers also slip, rot, lame, starve, chapter object, an abacus, its beads clicking like hooves on frozen road. Mehmed moves a row. Suleiman moves a row. The sound is fate, counting itself until the board tilts, and all those neat black beads slide toward a valley someone else has measured. Winter takes the field before any banner arrives. It sharpens the air until it cuts lips, glazes the ruts into glass, threads knives into every breath. Stephen opens the country like a surgeon who means to save by wounding. Thatch pulled and torched, barns unroofed to the stars, hayricks kicked to spark and cinder. A mill's wheel is hammered free and set adrift, turning once, twice, then vanishing under black ice. Hunger begins as a rumor in the hedgerows and becomes policy at dawn. Villages step sideways into the forest. Doors are left open to show there is nothing inside. Hearths are raked clean. Bread trenches are scrubbed with ash. Chickens are a memory of feathers in snow. Wells wear wooden lids spiked with iron. The staves beneath bloom with bitter herbs and quicklime. Men who could lift a spear lift their children instead and melt among furs. The land tilts its face away from strangers. Hunger tolls. The invader's arithmetic stumbles. Forage parties ride out 6 miles and return with a sack of turnips gnawed by mice. Horses stand hip-boned and stamping at cold that climbs the leg like a rope. A farrier's tub freezes into a single dull mirror. He breaks it with the back of his hammer, and the pieces refreeze at his feet. The army eats bread that tastes of splinters, then bread that is not bread, ground bark, a fist of bran, a lie soaked in water. Hunger tolls, slower now, heavier. Along the Barlad, the meadows look flat until they are not. A cart sinks to the axles, and the oxen bawl steam into the fog. Men shoulder barrels across skin ice that sings and then moans. One slip, and the river swallows a week's meat. Fires gutter green where wet wood lies, smearing smoke that smells of moss and failure. An officer records issue, 1 pound flour per 10. Crossed out, 1 per 20. Crossed out. Hunger tolls. Stephen's riders ghost the edges, leaving footprints where roads used to be. They cut bridges to a single spar and leave it, tempting as a lie. They string busiums under cloaks and only breathe them once at dusk, a hollow note that turns snow into listening. Somewhere a ram is led into the trees and not killed, because a living bell is louder than a dead feast. The forest keeps the secret of where the smoke goes. Hunger tolls. Winter signs its name on men's faces, white at the edges, wind-burned red at the cheekbones, cracked brown at the lips. Leather stiffens, bowstrings fuzz with whore. A janissary, who has never begged, puts his last coin into a peasant girl's palm for an onion the size of a sparrow's heart. She does not take it. The onion goes back into the ground, and her hand closes on air. Hunger tolls, and the land nods. Chapter object, a sealed well, lid bristling with nails. Knock it and the sound is hollow and honest. The only sweetness down there is death. Maps lie kindly to fools. Stephen draws one that maims. Vaslui is a narrow mouth cut in the hills where the barlad slows to think. On the west, ribbed forest, thick enough to drink sound. On the east, marsh that looks like meadow until it swallows a boot and keeps it. Down the middle runs the valley floor, a cart track pinched between waterlogged reeds and a low rise dotted with willow. One bridge crosses the river here, timber on timber, the only firm bite for miles. That is why Vaslui. Weeks before any standard shows, carpenters and charcoal burners arrive as an army of quiet. They measure with rods and foot lengths, speak by gesture, count in notches on ash wands. At the choke point, they dig wolf pits 3 men deep, line them with stakes, split to barbed teeth, dust the mouths with frost-pale soil, so the earth looks whole. Beyond the pits, they set rows of knee-high palisades, the sort that don't stop a charge, but trip it, so the second rank crushes the first. Guns are masked as haystacks and shepherds' huts. The lighter pieces, falconets, serpentines, sit low in scoops of earth, their muzzles packed with sacking to keep the dew out. Powder is casqued in tarred leather and buried in hedges where no spark can gossip to it. The crews drill by breath and finger count, learning to aim by the sound of hooves on frozen ground, by the rhythm of drums in fog. The gunners are told a single law: do not waste the first salvo. The first must teach the enemy to panic. The bridge is the heart and the trick. Stephen does not burn it. He blesses it with weakness. Joiners crawl under with mallets wrapped in cloth and tap like thieves. Wedges are shaved to hair thin. Load-bearing pegs are sawn almost through and set back with pine resin, so they look honest. A beam receives a mortise too wide by a thumb. Iron shoes are loosened where they cannot be seen. The bridge will hold a company. It will not hold an army. Not when the army begins to run. Approach lanes are scripted. Brush is cut to create false avenues that invite cavalry into low ground. Real paths twist behind the western wood where boyar cavalry idle in shadow. Headstalls muffled, breath steaming like dragons' patience. Drummers and busium men are posted in pockets across the slope, with orders to sound from rear to front only after the first guns speak, so the enemy hears attack where there is none, none where there is death. Signals are stripped to bone. 1 raised glove from Stephen's Hill equals guns. 2 equals skirmishers forward to rake and fade. 3 equals the hammer from the trees. No banners. Color is a liability in fog. Messengers run with notched sticks. 1 notch for hold, 2 for wheel, a split stick for break the bridge. This valley is not a place. It is an argument designed to be won. The map itself does the murdering. men will only supply the noise. Chapter object: the bridge's shaved peg looks whole, holds firm, then shears with a sigh you can mistake for the river. Fog presses low over Vaslui like packed wool. Breath turns to glass. Somewhere a horse snorts and the sound dies a pace away. The river lies under a thin skin of ice, dull as pewter. Then a single note threads the white. A busium, long, wooden, hunting deep, rises and falls like a saw drawn through bone. Another answers it from the left slope. A third, far to the right, echoes ricochet between trees and marsh, multiplying into a choir the ear cannot place. Hooves stamp, tack clacks, reins creak. In the Ottoman van, a junior aga lifts a gloved hand for silence, but the sound swallows his command. He can't see his own banner. Flash, a blunt flower of fire blooms from a haystack that isn't. The dull thump arrives a heartbeat late. Round-shot scythes blind through fog. Men fold without warning. A gap opens as if a mouth in the column just bit out a chunk of itself. No one knows from where. Busiums again, closer now, overlapping beats, low and long. Drums answer, Moldavian skins, off the rhythm of the janissary meter, beating in a wrong heart that makes horses dance backward. Lines! Lines! A voice tears, thin as reed. The order becomes frost on mustaches and goes no further. Micro slices of the valley. A janissary kneels, kisses thumb to trigger, fires into milk white. The spark hisses, his barrel blooms orange, and the smoke rebounds into his face like a pillow. A gun crew works by touch. Worm, powder, wad, ball, ram. One man counts with 2 fingers, slow match guttering, eyes shut to feel the timing. A gelding puts a foreleg down and the earth does not give it back. The rider kicks, the bit cuts, the leg stays. He slides off, boot trapped, flails like a pinned insect. An officer's lantern paints a small golden island of cheekbones, fear-wide eyes, sweating leather. Beyond the circle, nothing exists. Another rake, not a volley, rakes, irregular, from angles. The column bunches instinctively toward the only thing that feels like safety, the track, the bridge, the faint lattice of timber somewhere ahead. Spears tilt inward, shoulders lock, breath shortens. Shields scrape shields. A camel bawls. Someone drops a kettle drum and the thud rolls like a distant avalanche. Reserve forward. Left, left, right. The words contradict and cancel. Standards drift like drowned weeds. The men in the third rank hear only the valley itself. Horn, drum, groan of ice under weight, the wet suck of 1,000 boots. Stephen watches from the tree line, a dark notch in his fur cap melting rhyme. He does not shout. He lifts 2 fingers and a runner vanishes to the guns. The next shots come lower, shearing along shin and knee, sound like clubs hitting meat. The front tries to step back and finds the rear stepping forward. Pressure builds. The bridge groans in the fog, a whale's spine turning. Busiums again, now behind them. Not real. Musicians in scattered pockets, a theater of noise. The Ottoman mind rotates to meet an enemy that is everywhere and nowhere. A janissary captain bites his lip until blood runs. He can taste iron and smoke and wool. He raises his blade and screams the one word that still works in any tongue. Advance. He vanishes into white. The horns answer, patient as winter. The valley turns viscous. Every step takes, grips, won't let go. Mud climbs boots like hands. Hooves plunge, hesitate, and sink again with a wet cough. Harness groans. Armor pulls at spines. Weight becomes an enemy with its own will. Moldavian light infantry ghost the edges. Shapes that appear, cut and peel away. They don't stand. They sting. a knife under a rib, a hatchet to a hamstring, a spear jab that opens a horse's chest, then gone, swallowed by reeds. Each raid isn't a charge, it's a subtraction. Files shorten without a blow you can parry. The ground eats the cavalry first, caparisons darken, fetlocks vanish, bellies splash down. A stallion tries to lunge and the mud says no, stretching into ropes that snap back to hold him. Riders dismount to lead by hand. The hand jerks, the wrist twists. The man follows his mount into the suck. Leather straps tear. Men curse the beautiful weight that once made them gods. Breastplates drag them forward by the sternum like anchors. Panic has physics. Force presses from rear to front. Energy has nowhere to go. The column compresses. Shields tilt wrong. Spears tangle. Scabbards jam between thighs. Someone falls and is not trampled so much as pressed, pushed flat into the earth as if the valley wants him as a layer. Breath leaves and does not return. Janissaries carve order out of slurry. Circle, they bark and make one. A ring of stakes and bodies, muskets braced on shoulders, blades out. The island rises, discipline on an ocean of fear. They fire by feel, hands black with fouling, counting heartbeats to time the smothered matches. Smoke stacks low, trapped by the fog, a ceiling you can touch. Within the ring, the ground is churned to meat and clay. Outside, the Moldavians test the edge. Flick in a dart, snatch at a wrist, retreat. The island holds, for now. Horns roll again, left, right, far, rear. Sound waves that shove minds sideways. A camel screams like a woman. A wagon's wheel sinks to its hub. Axles crack, barrels yaw and spill shot like seeds into the slop. The driver tries to lift. Tendons rope his neck. He slips to the knee, and the knee does not come back. Stephen's skirmishers go for ligaments, not armor. Cut the knee, and all that iron becomes a coffin. They bite at joints, undo buckles with hooked blades, yank men down by the gear that once kept them alive. A janissary lunges, perfect form, textbook stance. His foot pulls free of his shoe with a sucking pop, and he pitches forward into a faceful of brown, ice-cold rot. Hands reach to haul him up. 3 men go down for the price of 1. The bridge ahead moans under mass. The ice along the bank fractures like pottery. Orders crack as well. Issued clean, received bent, executed broken. Forward becomes wait, becomes back, and the mud patient and impartial votes stay. Light feet keep moving. Heavy feet do not. The Empire learns what clay can do to steel. The more it thrashes, the deeper it sinks. And in the middle of that slow drowning, the island of janissaries tightens, hard, small, bright with rage, while the tide around it rises to the waist. The bridge begins as a sound before it becomes a fate, a tired timber moan rising under weight. It was never meant to bear twice, then thrice, then forever. Planks flexing like ribs, pegs squealing in their sockets, iron shoes striking in stutters as thousands push into the choke. Sabers clatter against scabbards, cart chains snatch taut. Draft animals lunge and stall. Men wedge shoulder to shoulder with the river skin cracking black beneath. And all command resolves into the oldest order of crowds. Forward. Stephen had counted this heartbeat weeks ago. Pilings shaved thin where the water can't be seen from the road. Hidden cuts like smiles inside the wood. Nails loosened, not lost. A frame left proud enough to lie. He had let snow hide the surgery. Let frost stiffen the lie. Now mass pays the invoice. Rear shoves, front swears it cannot move. Panic multiplies the math. A barrel of powder jams sideways and locks 2 wagons. A rider tries to leap the gap and lands on shoulders. A standard drops and men bend to save it as if silk could swim. The bridge answers with a long, low vowel that carries through fog like an animal trying not to scream. Ice cleaves, Sheer cracks feather out from the bank, ripple under hooves, lace the black water with white veins. The river itself seems to grin. On the plankway, a cart axle complains in pulses. Tick, 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 each tick a tooth of doom. The axle seizes, the cart tips, the oxen bellow and rear. The load slides again. The Janissary island, waist deep now, sees hope in the span ahead and lunges as one. Officers carve lanes with the flat of their blades. Make way! Make way! No way exists. The bridge has become a wall made of people, a plug driven by fear into the throat of escape. The groan returns, deeper, nearer, wood and iron in argument with gravity, and then in a single breath longer than any prayer, while nails lift, while mortises exhale splinters, while frost pops like sand under a blacksmith's hammer, while the heavy and the terrified lean into each other with a force no carpenter ever designed for, while the river lifts its cold hands to receive. The spine of the bridge kinks, the deck dips, the front third tears free as if the river had bitten it. The middle collapses after in a slow, majestic shrug that becomes a plunge. Carts and horses and gunners and standards and drums slide in together like a single machine, finally switching off. The ice shattering upward in pains, the air filling with iron and men and steam. A roar that drowns orders and names and prayers until there are no orders, no names, no prayers, only white water, red water, black water, and bubbles. Silence takes a beat to realize what it owns. Then the screaming resumes. Short, chopped, drowning screams, the kind that end mid-word. Men on the bank throw ropes that strike faces and vanish. Others jump in with armor that loves them enough to pull them close and never let go. Rifles, powder, drums, maps, everything the army knows about itself goes down through the jagged mouth where the bridge used to be. Behind, the pressure doesn't stop, because panic never reads terrain. Bodies surge towards the absence and meet the edge with a choice neither taught nor tacticked. Meet iron, meet ice, meet river. The crossing is no longer a road. It is a verdict. The escape is gone. The valley, patient engineer, closes its hand. They hear it before they see it. A single needled trumpet, higher than the Bushiums, thin as a knife, cutting across the valley like a bright scratch on dark glass. Janissaries, soaked to the waist and ringed by wreckage, pause on instinct. Officers shout to dress the ranks. Shields come up, lances tilt. Discipline claws its way back through the mud. From the tree line to the north, the forest bulges. Not men yet, motion, a tremor in the birches. Birds detonating up in a white flurry. Then hooves, low at first like far thunder under snow, beating a promise into the ground. Coming, coming, coming. The fog parts in ragged scrolls, and the boyars of Moldavia write their names on it. They've kept their horses dry, belly deep in the timber all morning, harness greased, crests wrapped, silence enforced by bit and oath. Now the wraps come off, now the oaths become speed. Mail flashes and dies in the pale light, lances level. The front rank leans as one, hips and shoulders fusing with destriers whose breath plumes like smelting smoke. The line is not a line, it is a hinge, and Stephen turns it. They do not charge the teeth of the Janissary circle. They take the cheek, the exposed flank that has been inching toward the broken bridge, all eyes fixed on escape. Steel meets side. The first contact is sound. A wooden knock of ash shafts into shields, the glassy crack of a spear finding a rib, the bass thud of horseflesh driving mass into man, then the tearing, then the folding. The island buckles. Wheel! Wheel! Ottoman officers try to spin the formation, but mud holds ankles like hands. Men pivot in place and present their backs by accident. A standard dips. Three reach to lift it, and the lance meant for silk finds throat. The circle opens a mouth and cannot close it. Across the valley, from the rear where nobody is, the second part of Stephen's plan arrives only as sound. Busiums again, but not from his cavalry, from boys and drummers hidden on the far ridge, from hollow logs and copper bowls and every noise-making thing a village can muster. The fog takes those notes, fattens them, throws them back with interest. To ears already full of fear, it is unmistakable. Another army behind you. You can see the thought land in faces. Heads turn, not forward toward death they know, but backward toward death they cannot see. Rank becomes rope, each man yanking another the wrong way. Hold becomes run in 3 heartbeats. A janissary veteran plants his spear and screams the old oath. He holds. 10 around him hold. They die standing into the horsehair. The rest, good men, trained men, men who have never broken, begin to go. Not because steel has beaten them, but because the picture in their minds has. The boyer wedge bites deeper, splits, and blossoms, carving lanes for infantry to pour through. Horns hunt them from the rear they believe exists. The valley fills with the dry rattle of dropped scabbards, the wet slap of falling bodies, the thin music of panic taking its shape. Stephen lowers his arm. The reserve is spent perfectly. The enemy isn't just losing the field, he's losing the story inside his skull. And once that goes, no empire can hold. Night falls and the fog does not lift. It stiffens. Blood turns black. The reeds glaze over. Orders go out on a single line that becomes a drumbeat across the host. No one sleeps. The words pass from captain to peasant, from boyar to miller with a butcher's axe. No fires, no tents, no mercy. The valley exhales its dead and inhales the hunt. No one sleeps. They fan into the timber in files of 3, lanterns hooded, breath like ghosts. The Turks break in clots, then crumbs, then single men blundering at ankle-snap pace, dragging silks that snag on thorns. Somewhere a horse screams and keeps screaming until the cold closes its mouth. Somewhere a janissary kneels to drink through a skin of ice and never stands. No one sleeps. First night, still. Short work in the alder beds. Shadows converge. One shout, one wet sound. The snow swallows it. Second night, ropes. Pairs take prisoners in silence, tie them 2 by 2. Then the river takes the conversation away. Third night, the cold finishes what courage began. Men sit down just for a moment and wake into statues the crows practice on. By dawn, the numbers speak the language that princes understand. Standards sunk, drums abandoned, cannons spoked with frost and useless as altars. 45,000 is not a rumor, it is a carpet. The river learns new colors. The marsh grows teeth. The road south is a rosary of torn shoes and snapped bowstrings. Stephen rides the line on a small dark horse that doesn't show in snow. He does not shout. He points. Here, search the reeds. There, block the ford. He saves his voice for parchment. Most Christian princes, the letter begins, ink thick from the cold. What you fear at Vienna and Rome scratches first at my door. Today we broke it with fog and faith and butcher's tools. Tomorrow it will knock again. If I fall, it will not knock. It will enter. He pauses, then writes the line that will outlive him. I am your shield. Wax seals it. Blood brands it. No one sleeps. Messengers run the wolf roads with that sentence in their satchels. Behind them, the work continues. Dead counted. Helmets sorted from heads. The wounded, ours, carried to barns made warm with hay and prayer. Theirs left to the arithmetic of weather. A boy from Harlow stares too long at a face he recognizes, his own age, his own dark eyes under a foreign turban, and learns a truth older than kings. Victory is heavier than defeat, because you must carry it home. No one sleeps. not while prints still crease the snow, not while a single shout can still be heard between trees, not while the fog holds memory. Only when the valley stops answering back do the horns fall silent and the blades go dull in their scabbards. Then the wind turns south, and the wolves sing what the trumpets have been saying for 3 nights. It is finished here for now. The news rides north like a knife, not a pasha, not a herald, Mehmed himself. Summer, 1476. The conqueror crosses into Moldavia with a sea behind him. 150,000 men, gun mouths like open furnaces, janissaries in ranked squares that have never learned the word no. Stephen counts what he has left. 10,000 hard survivors and the map. He chooses a place that looks like refusal made of wood. Razboyeni, a forested tableland cut with trenches, palisades, killing ditches. If numbers want a field, he will give them a maze. The guns speak first. Day long, treetops shear, oak hearts splinter, air turns to needles, smoke makes its own weather. The Moldavians lie under it, mouths full of dirt, hands on axe hafts polished by fear and faith. When the janissary lines come uphill, drums beating a measured verdict, they meet walls of timber and men who swing low. The first assault gutters on stakes. The second finds the ditches, fills them with bodies, and still fails to cross. The third learns the hill's grammar. Step, slip, fall, disappear. For a moment longer than a moment, it looks like winter again in July. Iron slowed by earth, empire eaten by structure. Then the horizon moves. Mehmed spurs forward where princes usually point from. He is not a banner, he is a blade. Officers bark, maces fly, ranks lock, and a living bridge is thrown over the dead. The trenches that held all morning fill to their brims, and the will of an empire presses exactly where courage is thin. A gap opens like a gasp. Another. The line creases, then tears. Camp breaks, the way bone breaks, sharply, with a sound that ends arguments. Janissaries burst through. The boy's circle closes around Stephen. Men die buying seconds. The ridge changes owners the way crowns change hands. Roughly, by dusk, the field belongs to Mehmed, and the name the locals will give it, Ballaria Alba, White Plain, sounds like surrender. He has won his battle. Then he meets Moldavia. The road to fortress after fortress is a ledger written in ash. Granaries gone, wells sour, pastures scorched to a brown idea of grass. The army that roared uphill at Razboyeni now chews bark and curses the taste. Flies write their own scripture over latrines. Fever walks the lanes of the great host, taking men by the handful. Horses founder. The big guns need teams that do not exist. Neamts says no. Suceava says no. Every gate says no, with teeth. In the imperial camp, quartermasters calculate with empty hands. Surgeons wash in vinegar and hope. A pasha coughs red into his sleeve and calls it dust. Nights grow longer, rations shorter, maps less confident. The prince who fell back into the trees comes back out of them, haunting rear guards, burning wagons, shaving strength from the edges until the center feels it. One evening, after a rain that smells like rot, a gilded circlet slips from a standard trunk into mud and stays there. A corporal fishes it up, wipes it, finds only clay. Someone laughs at the wrong pitch and stops. Mehmed lifts a choice no conqueror enjoys. Advance into famine or retreat with victory and nothing else. He turns south. The plains breathe again. The forests exhale men with knives. The conqueror keeps his battlefield and loses his war. 1497 comes riding like a parade. John Albert of Poland, young, lacquered, certain, brings a peacock army south. 80,000 hooves and heraldry, plate bright enough to blind crows, velvet caparisons, ostrich plumes like frozen fire. They call it a campaign. It looks like a wedding procession that expects God to clap. Stephen, limping, fever riding his old wound like a jockey, watches from the shade and chooses the venue, the Cosmin Forest, where the paths are as narrow as a thought, and the trees are old enough to remember wolves. The poles want a field. He gives them a needle's eye. For days, no battle, only weather. Rains lift the scent of leaf mold. Carts bog. Knights curse in French and Latin, and prayers with too much gold in them. Guides, Moldavian, loyal to their soil, misremember turns. The column unspools for miles, a tin serpent in a green tunnel. Banners droop, trumpets sulk. Somewhere ahead, silence that feels arranged. Then the signal, nothing theatrical, no Busiums this time. Just axes, 100 at once knocking rhythm into wood. The forest shudders, trunks that have been almost felled, undercut and wedged days before, let go. Slow at first, then certain. Tons of beech and oak surrender to gravity and history. One night looks up and sees the sky coming down. It isn't only impact, it's architecture. Trees fall crosswise and crosswise again, building a cage as they break. Rails of living timber, pen plate and horse. Lances become curtain rods. Spurs are jokes. The proudest cavalry in Europe cannot turn, cannot wheel, cannot even raise a meaningful gallop. A destrier screams like a torn bell, and then there is only breathing and metal. From that breathing, men in rough wool bloom, Moldavian peasants with cudgels, flails, bill hooks. No charges, no duels, no tilt lists, just folktale justice in a place that loves it. Helmets ring like church bells when clubs find them. Visors crumple. Knights try to stand and are dragged sideways by branches that have opinions. A noble shouts his titles. A farmer answers with a swing. Somewhere near the rear, John Albert hears a collapse that has no instrument and feels his campaign turn to a cautionary tale. He orders a retreat that has nowhere to go. The road is a throat with teeth. By dusk, the forest smells of sap and iron, and the expensive leather of saddles that will never be sat again. Captives are taken, more than Stephen needs, fewer than the story will remember. He gives the living a lesson, and the ground a promise. The poles are yoked to plows like oxen, and made to score furrows through the churned blood and splinters. Into each furrow, Moldavian hands drop acorns, one for a family burned, one for a village taxed to bone, one for every boast made on the ride down. Years pass. The trees rise. A cathedral with no nave grows where pride once marched. If you walk Cosmin's shade in summer, a wind will sometimes lay the leaves down in one direction, the way a crowd remembers a sound. Look up. Each crown is an armored silhouette, and every acorn is a sermon about what happens to knights who mistake a forest for an audience. Stone cool enough to quiet fever. Fresco blue like a winter sky that refuses to melt. After years of mud and iron, Stephen turns to stone and paint as if they are a different kind of cavalry. One church for every battle, he vows or confesses. Monasteries bloom in forest clearings, walls breathing with saints and sieges, pigments ground from earth the armies bled into. Angels bend over trenches, prophets share a frame with boyars. It looks like devotion. It also looks like policy. Pilgrims replace quartermasters, scribes replace armorers. A nation's memory gets frescoes and vaulting, because timber burns and parchment travels, but painted walls make the land itself remember. And then the bargain. Not surrender, not quite victory. An angle cut through a rock face. Moldavia will pay the Sultan's tribute, and in return the Sultan's hand will stop at the border. No mosques planted from the center, no governors parachuted by decree, no foreign law sharpening local knives. Tributary to live free. A bow, measured and cold, so the spine can stay unbroken. To zealots it smells like smoke from a damp altar. To accountants of survival it is the only arithmetic that adds up. Stephen signs with the same hand that broke lances and bridges. The ink is darker than blood. Objects outlast speeches. In Istanbul, behind glass thick as a century, a sword sleeps. Moldavian, edge polished thin by work a museum will not label. The steel reflects ceiling lamps now, not snowlight. A child taps the pane and leaves a fog print shaped like a question. Somewhere far to the northwest, a monk touches a wall where the paint still holds. Ultramarine that has weathered thunder and tax collectors and 3 dynasties of grief. Between them runs a thread, one blade, one wall, one idea that a small country can lean without falling if it chooses its angles. The old field keeps its own counsel. Go back to Vaslui at dawn in your mind. Let the fog rise off the river skin. Hear the butiums as a rumor, the bridge as a whisper. The turbans stop moving. The mud goes still. What survives of that day? Not the numbers which fought each other to exhaustion. Not the boasts which rotted faster than horse flesh. What survives is a technique. Use the map like a weapon. Use time like a siege engine. Use mercy and terror as paired tools. Then, when the season turns, use a pen. He was called Athlete of Christ and Wolf of the East, Savior and Butcher, Builder and Burner. Stand between the glass and the fresco and try to square it. Was the painted kingdom a rosary of repentance or the scaffolding of statecraft? Was the bow to the Sultan a stain or the price of breath? We close where we opened. Fog, cold, the quiet after clamor, and hand you the last line. Strategy or sin.